ranking 20 of the most popular men's fragrances right now into a tier list. To determine the 20 most popular fragrances right now, I have used Fragrantica. I have sorted their fragrances by popularity, unisex and men's, 1 through 20. Let's get into it. According to Fragrantica, the most popular fragrance in the entire world right now is none other than Lattafah Khamrah. Honestly, this wasn't even that surprising for me to see because this thing is amazing. For me, it is slotting straight. Honestly, it's going straight into the S tier. I understand that might seem high for a lot of people watching. I just think it does the boozy, cinnamon, vanilla, praline scent DNA so well. Better than pretty much any other fragrance that I've tried. Yes, it is quite similar to Kilian's Angel Share, but for the price you're paying for it, it is better than Angel Share in my opinion. Honestly, there's a reason I've gone through 3 bottles of Lattafah Khamrah and haven't bought a single bottle of Angel Share. This thing is just that good. You are going straight into the S tier. I'm not even surprised it's number 1. It deserves it. It freaking deserves it, man. At the number 2 spot, it seems that we have Jean Paul Gaultier's Male Elixir. Again, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. This thing was hyped up on TikTok for probably 6 months straight. And honestly, I picked it up solely due to the hype. It is not my type of scent profile. I do usually like sweet vanilla, even the honeyed scents like Sauvage, Naxos. But something about Male Elixir just smells too sweet. It's too cloying. It's too heavy on my skin. It gives me a headache if I use more than 3 or 4 sprays. It makes me nauseous. There's just something about it that I just do not like. From an objective, mass appealing, compliment getting standpoint, I could see this slotting into B or A tier, but from a personal standpoint, for me, it's C tier. So I'm going to compromise and put it in the B tier for the Male Elixir. I'm not surprised it's this high up on the Fragrantica list. I just personally don't enjoy it, and I genuinely don't remember the last time I wore it since I purchased it over a year ago. At the number 3 spot is a fragrance that I don't have, and that is Kilian's Angel Share. Now, I did just put Lattafah Khamrah in S tier, and Angel Share does share, get it, a lot of similarities to Lattafah Khamrah, but I actually think it is just not that much better, and considering how much more expensive it is than Lattafah Khamrah, it's like $400 versus $70, right? I just can't justify putting Angel Share above the A tier. I think the A tier is fair for Angel Share. I love the scent profile. The performance is solid. The price tag though is just ridiculous. There are other offerings from Kilian like Kilian Smoking Hot, Kilian Black Phantom, Kilian even Apple Brandy that I prefer over Angel Share. I'm happy with the A tier. I don't know if you're happy with the A tier watching this, but I'm happy with it. So we're going to put it in the A tier. At the number 4 spot, it seems that we have another Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance. I'm not sure if you can see that. And it is none other than my favorite Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance of all time, Male Parfum. Classy, powdery iris, but it still has that sweet, sexy Jean Paul Gaultier scent profile that we all know and love. The lavender is not too overpowering. It is done beautifully. I think we're going to have to do our second S tier of the video and put this right next to Lattafah Khamrah. I'm going to put it just behind Lattafah Khamrah though. I don't think it is quite as good. I don't wear it quite as much. But I think in terms of an offering from Jean Paul Gaultier, there is none better than Male Parfum, the GOAT. If I had a crown, I'd put it on the top of this little gold thing. But yeah, S tier, easy. At the number 5 spot is MFK's Baccarat Rouge 540. If you know me, if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you would know that I absolutely despise this fragrance. One, my ex wore it, so that's never really gonna go well. Is that biased? Yes, but that's just the reality. Even before she wore it though, I wasn't a big fan. So sweet, that saffron floral DNA, I've never been that big of a fan of. There are some fragrances that have done it decently well that I still wear, like Mancera's Instant Crush, Arabian's Tonka, but those are slightly more masculine, a little bit easier to wear in my opinion. The Baccarat Rouge scent profile, I'm just not a fan of. I'm gonna be respectful and put it in D tier. If I could put it lower, I would. I actually don't know how many tiers there are to this list. I'm going to put this in the D tier though, even if there are lower tiers, because it is very popular. It did create a very unique new scent profile in the fragrance perfume community. I respect it. That's the only props I'm going to give the fragrance though. D tier for you, Baccarat. In at number 6, we have a fragrance that I love, and that is none other than this bad boy right here, Sauvage Naxos. This is one of those fragrances that for me is just timeless. It'll probably always be sold. there's never going to be a point in time where people are going to be sick of this fragrance because it just smells so rich, so well blended. Honestly, whenever I wear this, suddenly I feel like I'm a rich 40-year-old man, and honestly, sometimes that's all you need in life. I'm actually stuck between putting this in the A tier or the S tier. It's a tricky one. I think I'm going to put it in the A tier though, above Kilian's Angel Share. But again, it is very expensive. I do reach for Lattafah Khamrah more. I'm not necessarily saying that Lattafah Khamrah, the Male Parfum are better. I think just in terms of a price value proposition, that they are better. And I wear them more. So it's A tier, but it's close. It's almost S tier. It's just not quite there. Definitely worth checking out though. At the number 7 spot, it looks like we're about to run into a whole bunch of designers. We have YSLY Eau de Parfum. This is my second bottle of the stuff. And although I do sell fragrance samples in Australia, I've just genuinely been running through these bottles myself. They don't even sell that well on my sample store. I just wear it so freaking often. One, I wear it to the gym because it's fresh, clean, it's easy to like, it's inoffensive. But also, if I just want something simple and easy to grab during the summer and I don't want to think about it too much, there's no better choice than YSLY EDP. I'm actually going to put this in the A tier, in between Angel Share and Naxos. I wear it a lot. It's a fantastic fragrance. You could argue S tier just from a classic, timeless point of view as well, but I think A tier is fair for this one. I hate to bore you guys with more Jean-Paul Gaultier fragrance content, but at the number 8 slot is another Jean-Paul Gaultier, and it is none other than, can you guess it? Beau Le Parfum. This one for me is really, really good. Honestly, it's a great fragrance. It is very synthetic. It is very youthful smelling, but honestly, it's addictive, it's fun, and I definitely do like wearing it from time to time. Although it is a tropical coconut type of scent, I actually think the parfum here doesn't work as well in the summer because it is very sweet and it is very dense. I would say more kind of spring, even winter nights, this fragrance really shines. I'm going to put this one in the B tier. It's a high B tier fragrance. I'm sure there are some people that would put it in A tier, some people that probably hate this stuff, but me personally, I just think it's good. I don't think it's amazing. B tier for Beau Le Parfum. In at number 9 is a fragrance that I honestly did not expect to see here, and that is Maison Margiela's By the Fireplace. Now, I do own Maison Margiela Jazz Club, and I'm honestly surprised that By the Fireplace is ranked higher than Jazz Club. I suppose it could be because By the Fireplace is probably seen as more unisex, whereas Jazz Club, in my opinion, undeniably leans more masculine. However, I do strongly prefer Jazz Club, but By the Fireplace has been on my wish list for a while. I love the scent. It is very smoky. It does genuinely smell like you're cuddled up by the fireplace, toasting marshmallows. It's a very seasonal fragrance. I could definitely see myself reaching for it around Christmas time, and I will most likely have it right before Christmas for that sole purpose. I'm going to put this one in B tier, right below Beau Le Parfum. I hope we get to rank Jazz Club later, but for By the Fireplace, B tier. We have made it to the halfway point, the 10th most popular fragrance in the world. Right, I assume the list is done as in like right now, but it is none other than the classic designer Dior Intense, one of the first fragrances that I picked up, and as you guys can see, your boy really needs another one, so, oh, we do have another one actually. I was going to ask one of you to send one, but it's okay, we have a backup bottle. Powdery, iris, very, very woody, tiny bit of sweetness, kind of like a chocolatey vibe, but also not as sweet as an iris fragrance like Bleu De Chanel by BDK. This one is definitely suited for either a younger guy that is on the mature side or an older wealthy guy that is already matured. Not my scent, not something I reach for a lot. The performance as well is not great on my skin, but it's also one of those ones that I would never rank below B tier because you can just tell how high quality it is. You can tell that some people would love this fragrance, and a lot of people call it the best designer fragrance of all time for a good reason. So I'm going to be respectful to the fragrance and put it in the high end of B tier. Me personally, I can't justify putting it any higher because I don't wear it, but I also can't justify putting it lower because I can still appreciate a good fragrance. Making its way to number 11 is a fragrance that, again, I didn't expect to be here, but it is a Tom Ford, and it is Tobacco Vanille, the only Tom Ford I own, and I guess this is the most popular Tom Ford fragrance. I have not worn this in so long. Let's actually make it my scent of the day, because I really do love this fragrance. I have no regrets spending the $400 odd on it. I think it is so good. It is very, very spicy though. I have kind of come to realize that it does kind of smell like a spice cabinet, especially in the opening, but then in the dry down, the vanilla really tones it down. warm, spicy tobacco. It's kind of got a little bit of edginess to it, which I like. When I'm wearing an all black outfit like this, it can be fun to throw on, but it's also easy enough for a lot of guys to like out there. If it didn't cost so much money, I will tell everyone to go out and at least try it, because it is just that good. I am surprised it's this popular still in 2024, especially with all the really cheap, amazing dupes of this fragrance available. For example, Male Elixir Tobacco Touch, I've heard is really good. Al Haramain Amber Oud Tobacco Edition. There are just so many great dupes of this fragrance available that, you know, unless you really just want a Tom Ford fragrance, there is no point buying the real thing anymore. But it is still great. I'm actually going to put this in the A tier, but towards the lower end of A tier, probably last place in A tier. Great fragrance, just costs too much money. In at number 12 is my Pookie Bear, my baby. For all the real fans that have been watching me for a long time, you might have already guessed it, but I'm giving you a chance now to guess it before I show you. It is Emporio Armani's Strong With You Intensely. My favorite designer fragrance of all time still, warm cinnamon tobacco. The vanilla in this is just so damn addictive. It was one of the first fragrances I've ever smelt, and 2 years later, still one of my favorites. That should tell you everything that you need to know about it. I'm not gonna, you know, dwiddle on this one too much. S tier, easy S tier for Strong With You Intensely. Argue against a wall. The 13th best-selling fragrance right now, the most popular right now, Parfums de Male Layton. This one, not surprising at all. I did kind of predict for it to be on the back end of this top 20. I feel like it has kind of lost popularity, it's lost hype, especially on TikTok, but it's one of those ones, just like Creative Ventus, it will be selling for decades and decades to come. It smells like a warm, spicy apple pie, but it's airy enough, it's fresh enough that you could use it pretty much all year round. This one I've noticed is love or hate. When I first tried it, was not a fan, but it really, really grows on you, and it grew on me enough to buy a full bottle, and I'm almost out of it. So, so good. I'm going to put this one in A tier, right below Xerjoff Naxos. I think Naxos is just a little bit better, but it does kind of go back and forth for me. Layton is a classic. I love it. Definitely give it a try and just let it grow on you, because it will. Trust me, it'll grow. That's what she said. At number 14, I guess I should have expected this one to be on there, and that is Versace Eros. I'm not going to talk about this one too much. It's a great starting fragrance for a teenager, but it gets boring so quickly. Apple, mint, vanilla. It's a classic scent. It honestly just has way too many bad memories attached to me that I just can't really talk that nicely about the fragrance, but I can still appreciate that if you're new to cologne and you walk into a department store and you try it, this one very well could be a favorite. And I also do think the bottle is beautiful, and it is one of the main reasons that it was my first ever fragrance. I would give it, rating wise, maybe a 7 out of 10. It is just the definition of average to me, so I'm going to put this one in the C tier. In at number 15, I unfortunately do not have this fragrance, so I cannot talk about it, and it is Versace Dylan Blue. I've tried this one maybe 3 times in my life, each at different stages in my fragrance collecting journey, and each time it has just been the same for me. Fresh, blue, simple. It's also got a little bit of classiness to it. I think I would wear it over something like Versace Eros if I was a young guy looking for a fresh signature scent. However, I don't love it, so I'm going to put it in the C tier, right above Eros. I eventually probably will get a bottle of it just for talking content purposes, just for collecting purposes. It just doesn't blow me away. Worth a try if you're a younger guy new into fragrances that wants a cheap, versatile daily cologne. But other than that, just I wouldn't really bother with it. I can see why it sells so well. I just don't think it's anything special. I'm sorry. In at number 16, we have the Grenade the Bomb Spicebomb Extreme. I have owned the original Spicebomb Eau de Toilette, and that is honestly still my favorite smelling Spicebomb. There's just something about it. The freshness and the spiciness is so good. But Spicebomb Extreme, if you want a winter signature, I 100% can see why that is most people's favorite Spicebomb. I have heard it has been reformulated and it's not quite as strong as the original batches of Spicebomb when it first came out a few years ago. I cannot talk on that. I've only tried it a dozen times. I've never owned a bottle of it. It is, again, something that I want to get eventually. I just don't really have an urge to buy it right now. I have so many other winter fragrances that, respectfully, I think are better. I'm going to put Spicebomb Extreme in the B tier, but down towards the bottom half of B tier. Making its way to 17 is Bleu De Chanel Eau de Parfum. I'm glad it's the Eau de Parfum, not the Eau de Toilette. I do think the Eau de Parfum is the best Bleu de Chanel, but fun fact, I actually don't own any Bleu de Chanel fragrances. I've never had the urge to buy any of them. The only one that has kind of drawn my attention is Allure Homme Edition Blanche, that lemon fresh meringue pie vibe. But in terms of a fresh and clean daily like Bleu De Chanel, all of my friends wear as their signature scent. It's just nothing special to me. Something like YSLY EDP, I would take 9.5 times out of 10. Again, I will probably get Bleu De Chanel Parfum or EDP at some point. There's just no urge to right now. It's a very average fragrance in my opinion. I can see why it sells so well. I just think it's a little bit overrated. For me, it's in the C tier, but up towards the higher end of C tier. Making its way to number 18, only 3 fragrances left to talk about. It is Club de Nuit Intense Man, a fragrance I used to talk about all the time on TikTok, and I think in terms of just pulling compliments and mass appeal, there is still no better fragrance than Club de Nuit Intense Man. It is the most complimented scent in my entire 120 bottle collection, and that is just crazy to even think about. I mean, someone loved how I smelled so much. He worked at a pizza store up the road, and I don't live there anymore, but he used to call me Club de Nuit because he thought I was wearing a Ventus. He was looking at getting a Ventus. I told him about this fragrance and he shook my hand and that's what he called me. I wonder if I went back, he would still call me Club de Nuit. Who really knows? It's a great fragrance. The opening is very harsh on the Eau de Toilette version especially. Some people compare it to synthetic lemon cleaner. I think that's a bit harsh, but I can see where they're coming from. Give it 20 minutes though and you're looking at around 85 to 90% similar to Creative Ventus for only 40 bucks. With moderate to strong projection. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I think in terms of price value, I've got to put it in the B tier, like the high end of B tier. It is just that good. Remember when I was talking about Maison Margiela by the Fireplace, and I was like, I really hope Jazz Club pops up on this list. There it is at number 19. Replica Jazz Club. Sweet, smoky, tobacco, vanilla, rum. The booziness is beautiful. From my experience, do not test this on a tester strip. For some reason, it smells super bad on a strip. Put it on your skin and it smells amazing. That was my experience with the fragrance. I've noticed some people think it smells like cough medicine. I will have to disrespectfully disagree with you because to me, it smells beautiful. I just wish the performance was better. If it was better, I would be wearing this all the time. It would probably even be my signature scent. The smell is just that good. I'm gonna slot this one kind of in the middle of A tier. Honestly, it could be S tier if it had an intense or X-ray version that was stronger. That's how good this thing is. We have made it to the end of the road, but there is one fragrance left on the list, and you're probably wondering why it hasn't been talked about already, but actually, it is none other than Dior Sauvage. I'm not sure what version of Sauvage it is though. It is just the Eau de Toilette. I only have the Eau de Parfum. But honestly, I'm surprised that Sauvage, the 1 million, I don't know where 1 million is on this list, but I'm surprised Sauvage wasn't in the top 10. I guess it kind of has dropped in hype. Sauvage Elixir is at the 21st place, which I don't like, so I'm kind of glad I'm not talking about that in this video. In terms of the EDT and the EDP, it's a classic, fresh, aromatic, spicy scent profile. Gets compliments, the classic F-boy smell. Honestly, a lot of people won't know what Sauvage, they won't think they know what Sauvage smells like, and then they'll smell it in store and be like, oh, it's that smell, it's that type of fragrance. I'm not going to recommend buying it in 2024 unless you really like it, just because there are going to be a lot of people that will recognize how you smell, and unless you don't want to smell unique, I wouldn't buy Sauvage. It smells good, it's just not unique. I still really like it, I even wear it occasionally. If you're going to get a Sauvage, get the Eau de Parfum or Elixir in my opinion. The Elixir is not going to be for everyone. Eau de Parfum is easier to wear. I find it hard to recommend though, just because so many people know the smell of it, and I know how much a lot of people care about smelling unique. But if you don't care about that, go for it. Get Sauvage EDP, great fragrance. I'm going to put this in the A tier actually, just down towards the bottom. I'm always going to have a bottle of it in my collection. That is going to wrap it up on ranking the 20 most popular men's and unisex fragrances according to Fragrantica into a tier list. I know this is going to be a controversial video, but keep in mind it is just my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. Have a great rest of your day. Like, subscribe, tick the bells. It's completely free, but it helps me out a lot. If you have any other video ideas, let me know down in the comments. Have a great rest of your day.